empower young professionals with the knowledge to build a healthier relationship with their money. Hello and welcome to Financial First, the Nedbank Edu-Series where we empower you, the young professional, with the knowledge you need to build a healthier relationship with your money. I'm Kopano Shimange, your host, and I am thrilled to have you back with us. Managing your finances can sometimes feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. At Nedbank, we understand the importance of starting your financial journey on the right foot. And that's why we're here, to provide you with the tools, support, and insight that you need to make confident financial decisions and to create a secure future. In each episode, we'll delve into essential financial topics with the help of an influential professional who will share their experiences and insights. Alongside them, a Nedbank specialist will provide invaluable advice on how the Nedbank suite of tools can support you every step of the way. Joining us is Ntando Kunene, who is a business development associate at a prominent non-profit organization. Alongside her is our Nedbank specialist, Basiteng, senior strategy analyst at Nedbank. She specializes in crafting client-centric value propositions that meet the client's needs and drive business growth in the retail relationship banking space. Tseho and Ntando, thank you so much for coming through today. I am so excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you for having us.
Ntando, I'd like to start with you and your journey into financial planning and investments. What motivated you to start this journey and how has it changed your financial approach?
Oh my goodness, it all stems from my dad, my late dad. He was very responsible with his money and sometimes we'd say too responsible. He was a great planner and made sure that we account for each and every cent. I remember the first time I even encountered unit trusts, for instance, was in like high school. You know, he would sit down with us and tell us these are the kind of things that are there. But even for little things like CV's Day, you have to write a requisition form, you know, and as to why do you need it and so forth. So he was really the backbone of how I treat money. I mean, it's not always perfect, but fundamentally just how I invest and how I spend my money, it greatly stems from the person that he was and the teachings and the financial education that he gave us.
So even from high school, you were requesting CV's Day, this is what I need, this is what I need it for, this is how I'm going to use it.
Honey, every single thing. If it's outside of what you need, if it's a want, you have to explain why do you really want it. So that was him.
I'm sure that has impacted you greatly in your life now because the intentionality of how you spend your money.
Definitely. It definitely has. You have to be quite intentional, especially nowadays. It's the economy is quite tough. And so you want to account for each and every cent. And so, yeah, for me, it comes from that. And it has actually made me much more savvy as to how do I handle myself and the balance of my needs and my wants, and also being able to invest and save my money at the same time.
That is a beautiful story. Yeah. Tseho, I'd like to bring you into the conversation and talk about young professionals and them starting their journey with financial planning. Why would you say it is important for them to start for their financial futures?
Yeah, so Ntando's already mentioned, like, it starts with a good plan. And I like the fact that she was already instilled with that at a very young age. And as a young professional, I'm just thinking about it, you know, you literally have studied hard, you finally graduated, you're excited to enter the workforce. And just the moment that happens and you have your first salary coming in, there's going to be a whole lot of things that hit you, a lot of decisions that you have to make. But you have to take like 1,000 steps back, and it all just starts with a good plan and executing that plan well.
Nice one. So when you talk about executing that plan well, I know that sometimes life doesn't always go according to plan.
Yeah.
Ntando, can you tell us about a time when you faced a challenge and how that impacted your financial plan? How did you actually overcome that challenge?
Oh my goodness. I think the biggest financial plan for me was, you know, we go through life and there are certain life events that truly alter even your financial life. So at some point I lost my car in an accident. So, and it was not insured. Exactly. But that's a story for another day. But anyway, at that time is now you have to make a plan as to you don't have a car right now and what is the next best thing to do. So instead of immediately going into debt, it's just giving yourself that grace period to kind of gather your finances properly, plan for as to how much the amount you can actually afford a month, and the car that you want to have. Are you going to have a demo, a new car, or a second hand? So those are the kind of choices that I had. And when that happened, I had to sit down with myself because for the first time, I'm like, oh my gosh, and now I need to consider a car, something I had never considered before because, I mean, with that car I had won from a competition. And so now I have to sit down with myself and plan as to I need to purchase a car because now I've got my son and, you know, can't be using Uber all the time. So that really taught me to just be patient with my finances and myself so that I allow that grace period of planning and saving up, so that the installments are not so high as well.
That is a big knock. That is quite a big item that...
Listen. But you know what? We made it out. And with that, I will never make that mistake. No matter how bad the month is, not your insurance. Do not, you could cancel everything else, not your car insurance.
Yeah.
No.
That's a big lesson.
Yeah.
So what advice can you give to young professionals? I mean, we've just heard about your story with the car and it going and losing it in an accident. How can young professionals plan for the house and the car that they want to buy? What are the things they need to consider in their financial plans?
Yeah, so definitely budgeting is one of the most important tools that we take so for granted. And as simple as it sounds, or as like, people are rolling their eyes, yeah, sure, it's budgeting, wow. But it's a life changer. Like, if you literally look at your finances and look at what is committed or what you need to commit, so you look at the expenses, you look at what's coming in, the goal is always to obviously spend less than what you like, be able to have money to save at the end. So you don't want to spend more than what you're making. So it's definitely important, and it's overlooked quite a lot. But having that idea of, okay, this is how much I need to get through the month and get through it comfortably and be able to save X amount for the big purchases. Then you're able to plan, oh, okay, well, I think I can actually do this within this year, or maybe it's a 2025 year, reality. But you can only have that honest conversation if you draw up a plan in that budget.
You were saying that it seems like, one of those things you really, I was just like, budgeting, financial plan. But it is something that has quite a significant change in your life when you see what's happening with your money.
Exactly.
It's like taking that moment where you look at your bank statement. It is very scary at times because you see the Uber Eats and you see the I actually spend so much on these like little foxes that's happening in my bank statement.
And I also want to add on to that, like, seeing it is like honestly what you need to do, and it elevates to you, okay, what you need to stop doing and the behaviors you need to stop going into. But so at Nedbank, for instance, we have this great money tracking tool. It's called Money Tracker, and you can literally use it as a budgeting tool. It tells you what's coming in. It helps you to say, okay, this is how much I want to spend on entertainment. This is how much I want to spend on these items. And whenever you go over, it will let you know. It will notify you. But it's an amazing tool, and you need tools like that to be able to kind of track and keep yourself honest, because you can have it in your head and say, well, okay, I know what I'm going to do this month. But until it's actually something you put down on paper or you have tools that can help you, it really doesn't happen. You're just kind of hoping that you'll make it through the end of the month. Whereas, as a banking institution, as Nedbank, we want to help you and support you and show you that it's so achievable to hit the goal every single month.
So I want to understand how the budgeting tool and the tracker helps. So you're saying that I can plan in advance. So it's not like just me writing down on a piece of paper. And as I'm spending, it will be able to tell me, have I gone over? Am I on track?
Nice.
So it has that relationship with my money as opposed to just writing on a piece of paper.
100%. So we all on our devices all the time. So you have it, you can play around with it. You can see, okay, well, this month I actually want to curb on entertainment. And you can do that, and it will literally keep you honest to that budget that you put down for yourself. So you don't necessarily have to guess, where you're at. Your tool, because you're swiping with your card, it will tell you exactly where that money is going. So there's a direct relationship to what you're doing and the information you're getting feedback with.
I love that. That is great. Now we're able to have that accountability.
I actually didn't know about it, and now that I know about it, it's something that I definitely want to try as well, because I just have a spreadsheet on Excel, and that's how I
have it on your phone.
That's how I keep track of my spend. But
and now you
nice.
actually have something that's going to tell you that, hey, Ntando,
you're doing too much.
So let's speak about, now you're speaking about spending and what happens on a month-to-month basis. But we know that in life, there are things that we have to plan for immediately and also long-term.
Yeah.
Ntando, can you talk about the long-term versus the short-term? How do you balance that, those two things when you are budgeting, when it comes to your planning and your investments?
Geez, I think, again, it goes back to the thing of just planning and knowing how much you are getting and how much is going out, because those, I think, those are the two important amounts as to how much do I earn and how much do I have to pay for certain things and where is my money going. So once you properly establish that, once I establish that, it becomes an easier process to see, okay, with what's left, not even what's left sometimes, because I think we have this mentality of, no, what's left you must save, but why can't we save first? So that's what I'm channeling myself to think, that no, we can actually save first and then take care of what needs to be taken care of. I think for me, with the whole planning and investing and everything, it was like a proper journey starting off last year, because as you would know, we're in the gig economy as well. So I went back into a 9-to-5, and it has made my life so much easier, and just in terms of planning, because now you've got a solid amount coming in each and every month that you can plan on, and then with the gig work you get in here, it's like extra income that supplements this, which just makes the planning much easier, because you've got a stable income that you can work around. So for me, with that, that's what really happened. There was a year ago that it fostered that, let's be more intentional about savings, let's be more intentional about investments, because I've got a child as well. I can't just live for myself. I need to think that at some point he's going to go to university, at some point there's going to be some kind of emergencies. And so that's where it all started to. There's that education plan, there's that investment for OE, there's this that I need to do before I even go back into, oh, this would be a nice to have. So it's just having those plans, having your money, knowing what comes in, what goes out, but prioritizing the important stuff. Because it's nice that we have it now, but later, what happens later? I don't want to be working till I'm 65 or something.
Not.
You want to be able to plan for the future as well.
I want to plan for my future,
And investing helps you to do that. It's something that helps you look forward.
Yeah, because I also think sometimes we think, oh, maybe even like getting a retirement plan, but I'm still so young, I'll be able to. It's not really. I think the younger you start, right?
Immediately.
The better it is, exactly.
When that first salary hits, you need to start thinking of retirement, as silly as it sounds, guys. But it's so important to actually have that plan together. And financial experts help you with that, right? So they'll have all of these different funds that they make you aware of. They're like, okay, you need an emergency fund, obviously. You need a savings account, you need an investment account, you need a retirement plan. And all of medical aid, insurance, etc. The list is endless. But like obviously what you put in at first won't all be the same, right? So as you move into your life stages, it will change this portfolio. But definitely a retirement plan is something we need to think of day one, the moment you start working.
You're touching on a few things that we need to have in our financial plan. And I want to know from you, Tseho, can you help us understand what does a financial plan typically look like? What are we trying to have in our plan? You mentioned things like the spending that you have day to day. You also mentioned retirement. What is in a financial plan?
Yeah, thank you, Kopano. So exactly that. So you need to think about savings and investments are totally different things, right? And also even the amount of what you want out of it, right? So you'll have maybe things that you want to save up for the short term or the long term. You have a long-term gain or a long-term goal. And that's where an expert would be able to say, okay, well, what do you need to save for right now? What do you need to invest for? So the term in which you do it, maybe the risks involved, and so on. Those are kind of things that an expert would be able to highlight to you that you need to consider. And then you also need to have like a medical aid, good medical aid. You need to have insurance. You need to have an education plan. Like your son now, you probably can afford the day-to-day right now, but varsity, that shouldn't come as a shock because you knew the moment he was coming, educate him. So all of these things that shouldn't be a shock. The financial planners are just really there to elevate that stuff to you and make it important, because you're not going to think it's that important right now.
Yeah.
Best believe, like the moment you graduate, those are the last things on your mind. But that really is important to have a proper plan that includes all of these things in that plan, and really just sticking to the plan and yeah, not wavering, just keep on going.
I have a question for the both of you, and I think that I'm not the only one who's asking this question. What is then a difference between a financial plan and a budget? What am I using at what point? How are they serving me?
Yeah.
Just from my personal experience, I would say a financial plan would be more structured in terms of I've got my education plan, I've got my medical aid, I've got my retirement, I've got my investments, however that looks like, unit trust and whatever. And then something like a budget is like a day-to-day, month-to-month kind of thing, just to sort out the immediate costs. So that's how I would explain it.
100%. I don't even feel like I need to add on. The one is day-to-day, the one is very, structured, quite complex even, because there's all sorts of funds that are quite not complex, but they are very different, and they require an expert because that's their expertise, that's what they know. They help, like brokers, for instance. You don't know the life of a broker, what they do, but they're meant to be working and growing your money for you. So it just goes to, day to day what you can do, what's in your realm, and then leave it to the experts because they'll help you gain that financial freedom, and that you don't need to worry about your future. Yeah, and really just grow your wealth.
I have a question. So now a person that just got into a new job, and you would say, okay, what are like the top three of things you should be like saving up for, or what are the top three priorities when it comes to my salary that I should possibly focus on?
Sure. So it really, like every plan, it will look different for everyone. But for me, I could just bring that back to myself. When I started working, the big stuff that I wanted to, get sorted was, okay, where do I want to live? A car. I think then I was still taking the how train, if I'm not mistaken. And I think those are the main two things. I can't remember the third, but the big purchases are the ones that once we start working, you leave the house, you're like, okay, so where now? Yeah, where to? And then the car, obviously, you probably were commuting, and your parents are dropping you, or you maybe had a car in varsity. It could be different, and people that already had a car might be, okay, well, my car's about to, give me problems, or I'm done paying it off, and it's a different conversation from there on. But definitely, where you start will depend on what the main three things will be.
This conversation makes me realize that when you have your day-to-day planning of your money, so you have your budget, you're able to use a tracker to make sure that you're staying on budget. With your financial plan, you're then able to look into the future and say, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? Why am I budgeting? And what is it that I'm trying to get out of my budget? Tseho, I'd like to ask you a question on the common mistakes that young professionals and people can make when it comes to their financial planning and investments. Can you speak to some of those common mistakes that people make and what they should try to avoid?
All right, common mistakes as in like budgeting, right? Very established people don't, the lack of a budget is probably like the first hiccup. But once you start getting into it, I suppose the first thing that you think as a person is, if you start working, I thought I'd be earning a bit more, and I thought there'd be so much more left for me to have a girls' trip at the end of the year. December's not looking that amazing anymore. It looks like it's going to be the same as it's always been with my parents, right? So the trick is you actually need to start saving from day one, no matter how small those peanuts may look. Literally, when you sow, right, you'll reap the reward. But even if it's just a little, that principle of just saving just a little will definitely, that will grow. Definitely it will. You'll get your promotions. You'll become senior in your space, and just the principle that you would have embedded, when you were younger, will carry you through. So saving from day one, and obviously then as your life progresses and just the different stages that you go into, then you can start having bigger conversations, right? And bolder conversations. And I think for me, that's the trick. Like South Africa, I don't have the stats for you right now, Kopano, but we know the saving culture is not where it should be, and it's not there at all. So if that's already been mentioned, it means, okay, right now, Tshego, are you thinking of saving? Probably not. Maybe this conversation is making you think of it. Okay, good. So now you actually need to just do it, because no one is going to be there keeping you honest. Hey, did you save? Did you save this month? It's really just you, and you have to keep on doing it. So yeah, I think for me, because I know that saving is not a big thing, saving has to be a big thing for you, and it will really keep you in good state for the future. And you honestly will thank yourself. I mean, the older you will think, we don't get to meet ourselves then, right?
Yeah.
Life is happening as we go, and we don't get a second chance. It's not a dress rehearsal. So I feel like when you get there, you'll thank yourself, your younger you, for doing the right thing back then, even though it was very hard, you know, when you look back. But it's definitely worth it.
When you look back and you've seen the behavior that you've had, and like you said, it's actually a habit.
100%.
Saving those peanuts.
100%.
It might feel like you're saving little peanuts, but then they become something big as you continue to grow. That is a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
You know, you also mentioned something about the saving culture in South Africa, and I also think it goes back to a point of our upbringing and what we're exposed to as well, in terms of our parents having financial conversations with their kids, in terms of, no, you can't have ice cream this month, or you can't have this because of that. I feel like sometimes it's just a matter of, I don't have money, and that's it, right? Maybe as parents, we should take our kids through, hey, I don't have money because this is what mommy has to pay for. There's this, there's schooling, there's that. So maybe that makes a child more aware, and also builds that habit of, it's important to save, and what savings are about, and where money goes, and how money is spent. So I think maybe for the culture conversation, maybe we need to take it further down in terms of how do we relate to our children when it comes to our spending.
100%.
This is why conversations like this are so important.
Yeah.
So we can talk about money, and we can talk about financial plans and things that you might not have heard from your friends or from your family.
And I just want to add, sorry, Kopano, just on Ntando's one, great point, because, you know, like I have kids as well, and I just have to think, okay, how do I, when they're able to understand, bring them in and see, because exposure is everything as well. So unfortunately, you know, I mean, I think I was exposed, but to your point, it's maybe just like, I don't have money, end of conversation. But it's like, I don't have money because I have to prioritize your school your uniform, every other thing that is important for you to get to where you need to get to, and not the nice things, right? So there was obviously like more to that sentence than what I could read into, but it's important for us to continue their conversation and bring our kids in much earlier, so that they understand, and also instill their own principles, so that, you know, quickly we get into the culture of being financially responsible and financially fit.
Yeah.
Very true. So I want to bring this conversation to the young professional who's now starting their journey. So they are now either finishing their studies, or are finished, and they're getting into the working world, and they're getting into that space where they're going to start getting that salary. Ntando, what would you say to the young professional who's now starting out their financial journey? What advice would you give them about financial planning and investing?
Geez, I would say the first thing, have a goal as to what you're working towards, have your long-term and short-term goals. And also when I know we get excited, you know, it's your first salary, you know, now you're an earning individual. So you feel like, oh, I can afford that car, you know? I mean, the bank can approve you, but can you actually afford? So I think it's just sitting down with self and seeing, this is how much I earn, what does, how my responsibilities, how do they look like, and what do I need to commit to? In the next 5 years, what do I need to plan for? What do I need to plan short term? So I think for me, it would be just sit down with the salary, look at what you need to do in terms of budgeting the short term stuff, but consider the long term investments as well, because they're quite important. Yeah. That's what I'd say.
Speaking about investments, which is an interesting one, which can seem daunting, especially when you're starting out your financial journey.
You don't feel like it's important yet. Just like, oh, I'm still young, you know, I'll do it later.
So for that young professional who's starting out, Tshego, what would be the right financial or the investment options that they have? I mean, when young professionals are looking at investments that are out there, how do they know which one to choose and what they should go for in terms of investments?
Yeah, 100%. And I think I alluded to it in the beginning that, and we're having a different conversation then, but it's not a one size fits all. So it's definitely about what you need, what makes sense to you, and what you would like out of it. So there are factors that will definitely have a part to play in terms of what you end up going for. And that's, for instance, the time horizon you're looking at, the risk profile that you may have as a person, how accessible you want this money to be. And, certain things like that will definitely make you decide on what looks right and what fits you as a person. Yeah.
I always say to people when it comes to investments is you also have to know who you are.
Yes.
When you were speaking about the risk profile of a person, it is what is your risk appetite?
Yes.
Like, are you willing to take a certain risk?
Yes.
And also you were talking about access to the money.
Yes.
Is it something that you want to have access to in 7 days?
Yeah.
Is it something you want to have access to
Very
in
important
32
to
days?
consider.
I think many people don't know that there are those options.
Yeah, 100%. And even the investment amount that you might have, right? Because certain ones like start at a certain threshold, or some start at like zero. You can start investing from 50 Rand and still go up every single month and will keep growing. But certain things like that really are the ones that will dictate what investment product you should go for. But there are tons. And obviously, even is it something for the short term? Is it something for the long term, medium term? That will also determine what exactly makes sense for you at that time.
It seems as though there are different types of investments that can suit each person.
100%. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Kopano's portfolio will look way different to Tsego's just because they're just saving for different things or want to invest in different things. And maybe, which I don't know, I'm riskier than you and I'll just go for hey, I want to invest in, XYZ, but it will look way different. We're all different people and we all want different things. Yep.
So investing is not boring.
No.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think it's actually it's a nice thing to do. It gives you so much comfort to know that I'm not only taking care of Ntando now, but I'm also taking care of Ntando later.
In the future.
Right? Because most of the time just like, we only live once, and when we spoil ourselves, we've got these keywords that make us feel like spending is, you work so hard to forget yourself. That's true. But just knowing 100%. That, my old age looks fine because I've got these things 100%. And I've got that. So I think it's just taking care of me now, but also me later.
100%. And I just want to add, you can't say it's boring because anything that has you in the picture and the future you is never boring. We all dream of that, luxury life once in a while. And you're just like, how will I get there, And it just really, if you plan and it's so important that, we all want to be better, right? We all want to do better than our parents. We all want to, make them proud or make yourself proud. And for me, it just feels like if you really know what you want and you have all these ambitions, it's worth spending time and investing your time in having a good plan. And there's a lot of investment products out there, and that's why you need a good financial planner. You'll be besties with your planner, but there's definitely a journey that you need to walk between the you and the amazing you that you want to be.
Ntando, you spoke about how your father used to talk to you about, if you want money, you have to tell me what it is for. He spoke to you about unit trusts, for example. Financial education and literacy is so important, and I would love for you to talk to us about your perspective on that and how it can help young professionals in achieving the financial aspirations that they have.
I think it goes back to what Teho was saying, it's having a good financial planner, like sitting down with someone that will properly explain everything to you. Because again, I might have that window of unit trust because of my dad, but there's probably other many types of investments I could look at. So it's getting that professional person that would be able to take me through how that looks like. But just from an education perspective as well, as an individual, it's important for you to be informed and also understand as to why you're doing the things that you do, right? And the kind of investments that you want to go into as well. So I just think from that perspective, for your personal growth as well, it's just important to just know around your finances and the education around it. Because sometimes, we can't always trust what we see on X or Instagram or so forth. You really want someone that's been in the game and they understand the game.
You mentioned that they are professionals that people can call. And you don't have to be an experienced professional, and you don't have to have had a salary for long. You can call a financial planner and advisor from day one.
100%. And it starts with, as soon as you get like that job, you're getting your first salary, you can start having a financial conversation. You can take yourself seriously. Like, you don't have to be getting a certain amount of income in order for you to start having money conversations and serious money conversations. You can start in that moment where you sign your it's like, I need a financial planner, definitely, in my life. So I joke a lot, but it's 100% like important for you to start with a planner, and they'll educate you on things like exchange traded funds and having tax-free savings account, and having all sorts of accounts that are very flexible depending on how soon you need the money, or if it's a long-term goal, a fixed deposit. All these products are available at Nedbank, and really they will help you be financially fit and be able to be stress-free about the future, and can I retire at a certain age, Yeah.
I'm enjoying this conversation.
You
so
mentioned
much.
something so important in terms of it doesn't matter, because I think we have this misconception that you must be at a certain financial bracket to be able to access a financial planner or someone to help you structure your finances. And I think you've just raised that it doesn't have to,
100%.
Because I think that's what goes around. It's like, but I haven't earned enough to have a financial planner.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you think that there's, in our minds, we think that there's an amount, and there isn't. Like, let's bust that myth altogether now in this conversation. No ways.
Okay.
When you start earning a salary, and we didn't say what, right? A salary, you can start having a financial conversation with a financial planner.
I'm really enjoying this conversation. Thank you so much for sharing this. The last question I have for the both of you to close off: what motivates you, Ntando, to stay committed to a financial plan and to your investments? And so I'd really like you to wrap that up by saying, how can other people find the motivation for that?
Sure. My motivation is the kind of future I want for myself and my son. So that's my biggest motivator, to stick to the plan, because should anything happen, it affects my son as well. So it's not just me that will take the knock. So that's the one thing that motivates me. It's the type of future I want for myself, the type of financial freedom and financial success I want, but most importantly, the security that it gives to my son. So that's my biggest motivation.
100%. I mean, you said it so beautifully. I really can't add on even more, but what I just like to leave with is, we try our best not to have like stressful financial lives, right? And if you can do that early from the onset, early for yourself, early for your kids, if you have kids, you are really setting them up. And if you can just take care of that, for me, that's a game changer. I just want to leave it at that, because it was beautifully said. Just a stress-free life. You don't need to worry about financial conversations don't need to be stressful. They need to be liberating. And you need to liberate yourself, because you have all the power in you. You just have to get yourself connected, partner with the right people, and you're sorted.
Join us next time as we continue to dive deeper into essential financial topics to empower you on your journey. In our next episode, we'll be discussing first-time home buying for young professionals, a crucial step towards financial independence. Until next time, continue making wise financial decisions and take care.